Hello, hello. What is up? Welcome to today's live session. Are you ready to talk about topic clusters? Today, we're going to be kind of throwing out the old playbook, keywords, and sort of the way that we used to think about keywords and SEO and content marketing. And we're going to talk about topic clusters and how to use topic clusters to dominate an entire subject in the SERP. Today's guest is Chima Mmeje, and she's the founder of Zenith Copy. She works with as a content strategist and writer for brands like SEMrush, Wix, and Aura, and a million others. And so today she's going to be sharing her process for researching and building topic clusters that help you grow your site's authority and rank for tons of relevant keywords for your business. So I'm really excited to have her on today. Before we bring Chima on, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Tyler Hakes. I run a content marketing agency called Optimist. And I also lead a free community of content marketing and SEO folks. It's called Top of the Funnel. So first of all, hi. Next, I want you to do me a huge favor. And that favor is to hit the like button on this video. It's a really simple thing, but it helps other folks find us and discover our content. So yeah, please hit the like button. We would really appreciate that. Next, I have two favors that I want you to do for yourself. Number one, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We host monthly live sessions with incredibly smart people talking about all things content marketing, SEO, and organic growth. So hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all of our upcoming sessions. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 sessions already scheduled out for the upcoming months. So you'll see those on the page here on YouTube. The second favor, and again, this is a favor for you, not for me, and that is that I want you to become a member of Tofu. So I mentioned before, Top of the Funnel, the community that I run. You can visit us here, yesoptimist.com/tofu. As I said, it's a free community. It's an awesome group. We have almost 2,500 content marketing and SEO folks hanging out in Slack. People are asking questions, getting feedback, sharing links, posting memes. Plus, Tofu members are always the first to know about all of the new live sessions, workshops, Q&As, all the other stuff that we have coming up. So I want you to become a member, whether you're a freelancer or your agency side or you work in-house. You're going to find your people inside Tofu. So again, visit that link, yesoptimist.com/tofu. There's a quick form. You can fill that out and you can become a member today. We'd love to have you. All right. One more thing before we kick off, and that is that I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. Our sponsor today is Positional. Positional is the modern tool set for content and SEO teams to scale their content channels faster, drive more traffic from organic search. They have a bunch of incredible tools, and it's an all-in-one app that you get for one price. They actually just launched or are in the process of launching a tool set for keyword clustering. So super relevant to today's talk. Here's how it works. You're going to take a list of keywords, or you can use Positional and actually generate a list of keywords directly in the tool. And then Positional is going to group and cluster those keywords into parent and supporting groups. It's going to clearly show you which of those articles to create, when to optimize for long tail keywords within a single piece of content. So it's basically like topic clusters at the click of a button, which is sort of the dream, right? Plus, it's going to help you figure out which keywords overlap, so you won't run into like duplicate content issues down the line, anything like that. But of course, that's not all that Positional does. Positional also includes a bunch of other tools. They have a tool called Positional Internals, which is super helpful, especially, again, when we talk about topic clusters. It's going to help you identify and detect internal linking opportunities, so you can kind of piece together your topic clusters, make sure that you have all of the internal links optimized throughout your website. There's Positional Optimize, which helps you write the perfect article every time. It's going to analyze the search results, give you data-driven recommendations to improve things like term frequency and optimize for related keywords, craft content with the perfect sentiment, improve your readability, and also hit the content depth that you need to rank in the search results. But wait, there's more. One more thing I just want to mention is the Positional Content Planner, which is going to be super helpful if you're thinking about topic clusters and executing the strategy that Chima is going to be discussing today. The Content Planner is going to help you quickly plan out those topic clusters. It's going to provide instant keyword recommendations. topic creation, and also thoughtful outline generation. So that's a huge bonus. Again, all of these tools come with Positional in one place, one price. It makes it incredibly easy to integrate into your workflow, no matter how you work. So I want to encourage you today to check out Positional. It's at positional.com. There's going to be a link. If you check the description below this video, you can click that link to check it out. They're accepting members for their private beta access right now. So sign up today and you can be included in that. Okay, with all of that out of the way, I want to once again introduce today's guest. Chima Mmeje is going to be joining us today to talk about topic clusters. Chima, hey, how are you?
Hi, Tyler.
Hey, so glad to connect. Like we were just talking about before, I know you and I have been, sort of passing by via socials for the last few years, and so I'm glad we got a chance to finally connect and jam and talk about topic clusters.
Yeah, of course.
How this has sort of become like one of your topics that you discuss and write about and share about. How did you kind of get introduced to topic clusters, and what's sort of your background?
Yeah, I think I started clustering, but not like really doing it in a very focused way when I was working in house. And
Mm,
what we used to do back then was that we would have like the overhead topic, which is like the pillar, and then we would use text razor to extract entities from Wikipedia and then write content on the biggest entities that came up. So back then it was not called topic clusters. It was like writing around the main entities and then creating those content and then linking it back to the main head topic. And it was very, very successful. Like this is something I was seeing working. And then as Google got smarter, then it started to evolve. You couldn't just write random content like that and just like have 500 words. You needed to like have more structure around what you're creating, and then you needed to like be more careful with what you were picking to write on, instead of having like a team of content writers that worked at a content mill writing like 100 content pieces for like 200 semantic entities and just throwing all of them on the website just around one keyword. You now had to be like more strategic. And the more I started thinking about it, the more I realized that this is going to be the way to create content today, tomorrow, and honestly forever. I don't think there's ever going
mhm.
to be a time when you will be able to rank for a very competitive keyword with one piece of content. I think it's just going to get tougher, especially with generative AI and the ease of creating content. We're going to keep needing more content. And the best way to serve more content, but to serve content that's actually very useful and meets the user wherever they are in their journey, is always going to be through clustering.
Oh man, yeah, you're speaking my language, Chima. I love that. I think I agree wholeheartedly. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so interested in this topic, and I'm excited to learn about your process because as you said, there's all these trends that are happening around AI, SGE, all this stuff that's going on in SEO, and I think topic clusters are sort of the only way forward for most brands.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to have you kick things off. Just real quick housekeeping note for folks who are joining us live, and hello, thanks all for posting in the chat. Continue to say hello to us. We happy to take any questions. If you have those throughout the session, please post them in the chat. We'll try to have some time at the end to answer questions, but we will save all those for the end of the session. Anything else? Otherwise, you're welcome to take it away, Chima.
Okay, let's get started because I have a ton of slides here to go through and very limited time. All right, so I just want to start by defining what is a topic cluster on a very like wide scale. It's a group of content that revolves around the central topic and uses a pillar cluster approach to link between related content pieces inside the cluster. This is my definition of a topic cluster. Now, the goal of creating a topic cluster is your aim is to own, and I like to put that own in capital letters because that is what you're trying to do. Your aim is to own the topic everywhere, and that is not just on SERP. That has been the greatest misconception, that it's just written content with blog posts, with maybe landing pages, product pages, but it goes way more than that, especially as people are starting to find content everywhere. TikTok, social media, all these other places that are finding content. You can evolve your topic clusters to meet them in those places. So, part one, the importance of owning SERPs, of owning topics in the SERPs, not just keywords. Now, shift from keyword to topical SEO. I think I just mentioned something about this with Tyler earlier on. And in the past, when I was starting out, I remember that one of the first content pieces I wrote, no, the very first content pieces I wrote, the instruction was take the keyword and put it 2 times in the content piece, and that was it. That was all the optimization we did, and we just kept trying to get smarter, trying to rank for this keyword, being obsessed with this keyword instead of thinking about the whole topic. So we're shifting from that obsession with keywords to topical SEO because it is the most holistic way to serve content and to cover the topic. So rather than trying to answer a single query, we're trying to address the entire spectrum of user questions around the topic. And it doesn't just improve your search rankings, but it also ensures a better user experience because people are finding comprehensive answers to questions that they're asking and questions that they haven't even started thinking about yet. Then you also have omnichannel approach to cover a topic across multiple channels. I already said that it's not just blog post anymore. Omnichannel approach means that wherever people encounter your brand, you want to be serving a consistent core message. So if someone is finding you on Spotify through a podcast, someone is finding you on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever they're finding you, you want to be serving the same content on all these platforms. What does this do for you? It gives you like an amplified brand presence and authority as people start seeing you as the dominant voice across various channels. But more importantly, you want to diversify your content format because everybody will get bored with just reading the same blog post or long form content every time. And you can do this by creating, I'm going to really delve into this part later on, but you can do this by creating infographics, podcasts, so many different type of content. Where are your audience hanging out? You want to diversify your content format to serve content that meets them in those places. So for example, you might create an infographic around a report that you recently did, and that might attract somebody who's at the top of the funnel. But once they click in and they join your mailing list, then you can serve them maybe a video or a detailed article that nurtures them and leads them closer to conversion. So it's not just using a blog post or using one content format and hoping for the best. It's diversifying your content format and having like this structured, robust approach to ensure that you are leading them carefully from this format to this format to this format. Ultimately, the goal is what? Conversion. So I like to think of a great topic cluster as a rabbit hole. You start from here. It doesn't matter where you start from. If it's an infographic, wherever it is you start from, you're going to find yourself in a rabbit hole that ultimately leads you to the action that content marketer wants you to take. Now, this is a very good example. The keyword here is what? Content marketing. Look at that search volume, 110,000 people or monthly search traffic for that keyword. And I'm using Content Marketing Institute as an example because they've done a very good work of covering this keyword. Now, when you open that page, it looks very small, it looks very simple, it looks very straightforward. But right up the top, they are taking you to an internal link and it says annual research. So it's okay. Let's look at the research. Seems very simple, right? But you go to that research and it's not just one research, it's tons of research around content marketing. More resources that lead to more resources that lead to more resources. You click any of those resources and then it takes you to more stuff that just keeps leading you to the end journey. Now, if I keep reading down that same page of what is content marketing, and then I find other sub pillars related to the topic as a way to show relationships across entities. They have social media, SEO, PR. These are all entities that are related to content marketing. If you click any of them, this subtopic takes you to its own topic cluster that they have already fully covered. Now, on this same page of what is content marketing, they have this free download. Download our 16-page guide. They also have another free download on 40 content marketing examples. They have they have a conversion asset if you're trying to subscribe to the free magazine. And if you want to hire them for consulting, you can enter into their sales pipeline. So I went in there trying to do research on how they built their topic cluster. And I ended up giving them my email because it was really that good. I wanted to join this mailing list for Chief Content Officer. All right. Part 2, comprehensive research. The first step in doing that comprehensive research is to choose a topic you want to build authority on. Now, if you're a new brand, that topic is going to be the first thing or the one thing you want people to think of when they hear your brand name. For example, I think of Zapier and I think of automation. All right, next, figure out the home. Who would be the audience for that problem that you're trying to solve? Usually, if you have an established audience, you would know who this is. If you don't, you can look at competitors, you can conduct surveys to figure out your target audience. Then you want to do a content audit. In this scenario, we're not talking about a site-wide content audit. We're just doing a content audit for that topic alone. Now, first thing, turn to your audience, ask questions around that topic. Let's say we're still using the topic of marketing automation. What do they want to automate? What tools are they currently using? Do you serve those integrations? Just use survey tools to ask your audience questions around that topic. Then you want to conduct keyword research. When I'm doing keyword research, I like to start with competitor research because it's the easiest way to see what your competitors are ranking for, find gaps, and determine where you want to start from. I use Moz for keyword research, and they have this feature called competitive research. Now, what you do is that you plug in your domain name. Here, I'm using GetGuru, and Moz is going to find competitors for you. If you don't know your competitors, this is a good place to start. If you do know your competitors, you can just pick any three domains from here, and then you can come in here and then change it to the domains that you want to compare against. Now, once you do that, you can select the location. I think this applies to any keyword research tool. Select the location and then you get the result. What I really like about Moz is that it starts grouping even from the keyword research list. So, for example, the keyword here of project proposal, it has already started grouping it this way. So what that means is that I can just click on that project proposals and see all the grouped keywords, decide the ones I want to pick, go back to the main list, pick all these other keywords, click that list, and then see the grouped keywords and decide on what I want to pick for my clusters. This just ensures that you have a plethora of topics to choose from to create a very robust topic cluster, depending on your budget. Now, I also like using Bozumo because it shows you what is popular around that topic, and you can use that to understand why is this topic popular, what has the um, author done, and is this something that I can replicate for my brand. For example, around the topic of user research, what is doing very well, you can see that this article that Katrina wrote for user interviews on the state of user research, it's a report, performs very well. So that might give you an idea of the type of content you want to create if you're trying to rank for the keyword of user research. I also like to do social media research because I want to see what industry folks are saying about the topic. It's not just about SERP. What are people saying on social media? So I'm looking for three things: recurrent themes, divisive conversations, and popular hashtags. I particularly like divisive conversations because it forces you to take a stand, defend that stand, and then position yourself to people who find that attractive, and that just makes you an authority. Now, when I'm looking at social media, I'm looking at recurring themes again. For example, I was looking at sales pipeline, but I noticed that marketing automation kept getting linked with sales pipeline. So I could do more research and find out that relationship between the two of them and figure out how to cover it as a content piece. I also love community research. I think it's often overlooked, but it provides insights about your audience and how they search for answers, the kind of words that they're using, what problems they're facing. It's a really great way to understand your target audience. My favorite tool for community research is Reddit, goated for community research. This is a question on what is sales pipeline. I can find this inside the subreddit of sales, and I can look through the answers that people have provided, and that gives me an idea of what people actually believe sales pipeline is, what problems or questions they're having around it, and I can incorporate that into the content that I'm creating. But a better way to do that audience research instead of going one by one towards subreddit is to use a tool like Perplexity and just put in your question. And Perplexity, you can filter you can filter the results by Reddit or by any of your favorite community tools, and then it just goes in there, scraps all the answers related to what you've typed in, and just gives it to you in a very nice list like what you're seeing here, which I really think is neat. Next, this has nothing to do with keyword research, but you want to create content for all the problems that your product solves. This could require brainstorming with people in sales, in customer support teams, and then going back to that survey that you've done on your audience and just using that to figure out what are all the problems that our product solves, and then trying to figure out keywords around those problems. All right, this is a nice checklist that I like to use. What do we have around this topic? Take that, put it in a spreadsheet. How are these content pieces performing? The best performing ones, I want to keep them. The ones that are not performing well, then I want to decide if I have to consolidate, delete, or rewrite. Then I gather the information I've gotten from keyword research and gap analysis. Add it with audience insight from sales calls, questions from customer support. That's questions that customer support and sales usually get frequently. And then topical sales enablement content and social listening, which I've already discussed. We're going to also dig into the sales enablement content very soon. God, it's such a mouthful. All right, next one, trimming your list. You've gotten all this list of nice content pieces, but you can't cover all of them. So you have to decide what to keep and what is going. So, first things first, which of these keywords are completely irrelevant to the topic? Take those out. Which keywords do not align with your brand messaging? I think this is one of the hardest things to do because there's such a temptation to cover everything, especially if the keyword has a high search volume, but it might not align with what you do. For example, the keyword of user research, if you do something like research repository platform, a keyword like user research course doesn't align with what you do. So it wouldn't make sense to cover that keyword. Which keywords allow you to cast a wider net with your targeting? Now, this requires you to be smart and to really think deep to find these keywords. For example, Calendly is a scheduling tool, that is their field, but they also rank for sales automation software. Another example, the main function or the main offering of Guru is knowledge based software, but they also rank for employee onboarding tool, intranet, and project management because these are the different ways that their audience are using these tools. And you can only find this from doing audience research, from collecting feedback from your audience, and from seeing the different ways that people are using your tool in their daily workflow. Now, think of how you can match the keywords to the different stages of the buyer's journey. This is where we get into clustering. You can use ChatGPT to help with clustering, plug all those keywords and ask ChatGPT to cluster for you. But I think you get a better result if you use something like Moz for keyword research and keyword insights for clustering. And then finalize it manually, obviously. Now, when you want to start writing the content pieces, adopt an upside down approach by building from the bottom to the top. Why? Because the keywords at the bottom usually have lower competition and more intent, while the keywords at the top tend to be very broad for beginner level. So if you write a content around what is, you're most likely going to cover all those middle and funnel as subheadings, and that doesn't give those content pieces a chance to rank when you decide to cover them as full-blown topics. So best approach, start writing from the bottom and then write the pillar topic last. Now, we've talked about why it's important to build clusters. We've talked about doing the research and pruning the list. Now, let's get into diversifying your content and creating those conversion assets. So, what are some modifiers that you can use when you're trying to filter your list or when you're trying to find topics or keywords? First one, best. This has a very good intent because anybody who's looking for something like best marketing automation tool is most likely looking to download one or to start using one immediately. So you can serve them content in review articles, product roundups, top 10 or top 20 lists. Format could be, not could be, format is always a blog post. Now, this is some tips for writing that content. You start by going generic. We're using the example of scheduling software, best scheduling software. You also go specific. Best scheduling software for, this is where you plug in your audience. How many different audience groups are you targeting? You can create best X tool for that audience. And then you can also explore other product use cases, which takes us back to that example on targeting keywords that's, wait, what was that again? Yes, targeting keywords that allow you to cast a wider net. All right, where are we? Yes. So, example of that: best organization tool, best sales automation software, best planner app. Someone who is ranking for best scheduling software, these are also use cases for them. Now, when you're writing the page, you want to use social proof to build trust. You want to press the pay immediately. You want to show relevant product benefits that corresponds with that pain, and you want to show the product in action. Modifier versus, so something like Salesforce versus HubSpot. So it's a way to like compare one competitor versus another competitor that have the same offering. It could be a blog post, it could be a comparison chart, landing page, YouTube video, Twitter threads, TikTok videos, Reddit, and Quora threads. You can see that it's not just blog posts and comparison charts. There are so many ways that you can write content around the modifier of versus. Now, examples of what other comparison keywords also look like: brand X review, brand X competitor, brand X versus brand Y versus brand Z, or brand X versus brand Y, and brand X alternative. Now, a few things to remember here. You want to scrap reviews, look for recurring pain points, have an overarching theme, and use it to tell a story. Your first headline and entire structure should center the pain points. That is this pain point that you have decided to base your story on. Tell and show how you solve this pain point. Highlight one key feature that sets you apart from competitor. Capture competitor keywords across brands solving a similar problem. And you can even capture non-branded competitor pages and plug your offer at the end. I'll show you how this works very soon. Now, I like this tip from Federico Yohe. He's very good at writing comparison pages and competitor pages. And he says here, number 2, see what the SERP shows for each keyword. A product versus product keyword is not the same as a alternative to product, meaning that they usually have different intent. So you have to be very careful not to confuse the intent when you're looking at all of these different keywords. Now, what does that look like in reality? This is a competitor page from DocuSign, and they're saying, no, this is HelloSign actually. HelloSign asking you to switch from DocuSign. So HelloSign versus DocuSign. And the headline says better signing experience for you, your developer, and your customers. It doesn't even make any sense. If I read this headline, it doesn't tell me why I should switch. Now, I went to DocuSign to see how DocuSign created their own page, DocuSign versus HelloSign, and it's basically just as bad. And the headline says, is DocuSign easier than e-signature alternatives? Why are you asking me a question? You should be telling me why I should make the switch, not asking me a question. And the text below that is just really boring. All right. I tried to keep reading, but honestly, I think I just zoned out at this point. It doesn't have any value. But PandaDoc does a really good job. So this is their comparative page. PandaDoc versus DropSign, or rather HelloSign, because they've changed their name. And right under there, they have this value that says when you trade DropSign to PandaDoc, you will enjoy unlimited templates. See, that is the value. Like immediately, I know what I'm getting. Unlimited templates, faster document creation, and advanced analytics. And then they break down my barriers by telling me that I don't need a credit card to sign up for their 14-day free trial. Now that's value. You also want to make sure that you have a features list. And I want you to highlight the features that you have that your competitors don't have, just to make yourself seem bigger. Just like what Documentary System have done in their comparison page with HelpJuice. Now, reviews, I think, are the most important thing when you're creating this type of content. And you want to get your clients to list that feature inside the review, like Matt Watson has done when he's reviewing Documentary System. And he says their amazing Markdown editor and SEO features were unrivaled. All right. Next type of content, product pages for specific audience type. But this only works if you know your overarching offer and your audience. It can be a long form blog post, it can be a landing page. But these are some instructions to remember when you're writing products land when you're writing products pages for a specific type of audience. You can't be vague. You have to show value immediately. Use customer reviews from that specific sector. So if you're writing about sales software for small businesses, then you want to be using small business owners for your reviews. And then you want to personalize that content to the audience's specific needs. Now, this is your generic products page. Let's say you're a user research repository tool, and then you just have your normal product page. A few things that I want to see on the products page: value at the top, how the product works, social proof throughout the page, and pain point driven solution. Now, this is really good advice from Rachel Pilcher. The one I want to focus on is talk to your customers first. Without understanding customer pain points, you are using guesswork, which will tank conversion. This is a really good example from Guru with immediate value at the top. And you can see the AI powered intranet for your whole company. You stay connected and you spend less time answering repeat questions and searching for information. That is the value at the top. This is another good value from Deal on showing what the product does and how it works. We handle complexity, you focus on growth, and then you see where they say expand your talent pool, let us handle liability, and then you spend less time on payroll. Even without reading the text, I already feel like this is a tool that knows what they're doing and a tool that I can trust. And now you can see in their social proof, it's not just random. If you read this social proof, you can see similarities between all of them on what the problems the reviewer was facing and the relief that they got. Now, before Deal, hiring and paying our global team was an ordeal. Before Deal, we were intimidated by hiring remotely. Deal made it super simple for a small company based all over the world to hire and pay for. So basically, all these three reviews are saying we have a global team, the team is remote, and we want to be able to hire and pay them. That is the benefit of using Deal. Now, pain point driven solution. This is from Automate manual work. Yeah, this is still from Deal. Decrease onboarding time to just 5 minutes. So specific. I love that. Now, next type of content: customer success stories, the keyword modifier, success, testimonial, case study. You can use these modifiers when you're doing computer research to see if your competitors have created this type of content, and then use as a basis to understand what they've done, why it worked, and what you could do better. Ideal formats for customer stories for me is videos. I love videos. I love seeing the person's face, knowing that they're a real person with a real problem. But you can also do it as landing pages or long form content pieces. Now, customer stories have a direct impact on getting people to take action because people trust people. These are a few guidelines to guide you when you are writing customer success story. I really think you should focus on the customer's journey. So many brands don't do this. I reviewed so many SaaS companies that have customer stories. A lot of them focused on the brand itself and not on the customer. Very important to have a name and a face. I absolutely hate customer stories where they just said, we did this for this company in this industry, and they don't name the industry, they don't name the company, they name the industry, but they don't name the company. So how do I know it's real? I could easily go to ChatGPT and create something like that, and it's fake, but I put it on my website. Nothing makes it more real than having a name and a face. Now, I love how Active Campaign is basically doing that. Look at the face of the person, and you can see his name and his role and the company that he works for, immediately building trust with me. Zoom is highlighting the problem in their customer story with the NHS. The NHS saying that they've dabbled into video in the past, but it was not scalable. And then with COVID-19, they needed something that have video visit capabilities, and Zoom was the answer. If I was a large company like the NHS or government, a government agency, and I was looking for something that was scalable, this just tells me that Zoom is a very good option. Another option to consider: free ebooks and guides. One of the questions I keep hearing is that what is the best type of content to create for ebooks? Now, first of all, I believe that the best ebooks makes the lead sales ready. And the best type of content to create for them is buying guides. You want to create a content asset that when they read that asset or they consume that asset, they jump on the call with the sales team and they are ready because, excuse me, they have all the information. Now, here's an example of something I created for Randstad Right Smart. Choosing the best outplacement service partner. They give this resource, the sales team or any of the teams. I think, yeah, they plug this on their website across many articles around outplacement services, and then they give it to people to read. And once they read this article, the next action is to jump on a sales call, and you already have like a really good understanding of the questions you're going to be asking the salesperson when you're on that call with them. Here's another example I did with Guru. Buying guide, how to choose the best intranet software. I already gave you an example that Guru, while they are a knowledge-based platform, they also target intranet because an intranet does what a knowledge base also does. That's a lot of does. All right. One tip when writing buying guides as ebooks. This is really important. Replace the conclusion of an ebook with a one-page customer story. So important. You've given them all this information on maybe how to make the right choice. If you end with a story from a customer that faced a challenge, how you solved it, and the result that it achieved, look, that is just bang on the money for that person who is reading it. All right. Next modifier. This is very simple. This is top of the funnel. How to creating a guide, tutorial. I think the best content format for this is videos, blog posts, and infographics. Another one is downloadable offers. I think we've covered this a bit with ebooks. But yeah, if you can think of like calculators, anything you can give to your audience for free, and in exchange, they give you their email so that you can put them in your pipeline, that is a great asset. So, examples you can look at when you're doing keyword research, you can use these modifiers: free, calculator, checklist, plan, template, infographic. Now, I think this is an essential asset for any brand to have: demo, tutorial, walkthrough. And the best way to do this is to pick one feature and do a demo for that feature so that you don't overwhelm the person who is watching your content. This is one from reply.io, and you can see that it's just 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is the perfect length for a demo video. All right, next modifier: statistics, overview, benefits. So if you want to create reports, I think you can look at what your competitors have done to give you an idea of what works or what has some search volume, and you can use that to create industry statistics, or you can create content around benefits of using the software. All right, this is an example now. Key takeaways from the survey. Each of this, I can turn this into an infographic and share on social media. I can write a full LinkedIn post or a Twitter thread on each of these points. I can create a TikTok video from this. There's so much I can do with each of these key takeaways from the survey. The the data that you get from doing reports like this or from doing statistics like this, it's not just one and done. It has that, will I say, replay value, and that is so important for content creation and for diversifying your funnel. Influencer content, I think this is something that we really struggle with, especially with B2B. How do we tap into influencers to amplify our brand voice and to create content around topics for us? So I think the best way to do it is with reviews, partnerships, promotions, guest appearances. And you can do this through me. I like using Twitter threads for this. It's so useful. I've done so many threads as an influencer for many brands that people don't even know that I'm doing this as an influencer because I'm just sharing my honest take on what I found when I used the tool. And that is actually the best way. Make it authentic. Give them access to the tool, pay them to use the tool, and then pay them to share their feedback if you trust that what you've created is actually really good. And you just watch people start signing up based on what an influencer has said. Now, here's another example. Liam is very funny on social media. I'm always using something he has said when I'm doing presentations. So here he says, person learns SEO from Moz, person understands SEO basics, and then the rest of the chat. But what I'm taking away from this is that Moz is great for beginners who are trying to learn the basics of SEO. That is what I'm taking away from this. Now, this is another example of influencer content. This one is really good. This is from Gaetano. He's one of my favorite people to follow on LinkedIn. So Gaetano is talking about working with dofollow.io on backlink strategies for his clients. I have something similar that I use. I use Vazula when I'm working with my clients. I think everybody has a brand that they use for link building, but Gaetano is tying it to results that he has gotten when he has worked with DoFollow. Immediately, I went to check out the brand and to see what they're up, what they're about. And I'm pretty sure that everybody who read this article, sorry, who read this post from Gaetano on LinkedIn, went to check out dofollow.io. And this is a really great way to do influencer content. And you can see it had some really good engagements. Now, this is another example with YouTube that I think, and I say again, people don't really cover. This is on keyword research. So if you're building a cluster around keyword research, this is another great way to cover it. Partner with an influencer, ask them to do a review of it, and look at the reviews. Look at the views on this 66K views, 172 comments. It's insane. That is great engagement. And that is going to lead many people who are learning how to do keyword research to the most tool. All right. I've talked about community and I've talked about Reddit as my favorite community tool. So I think if you're trying to use Reddit to do research, you can use modifiers like help, alternative to, opinion on, because these are what people are usually asking when they go on Reddit. And you can use this by answering those questions, by sharing your insight, and by just engaging in the community. Okay, now here's an example. I really love this one. This made me laugh so hard. This guy got a job as an XA expert, but he doesn't know jack shit. So he comes to Reddit and is asking people for advice on how to execute. And people are helping out, people are giving him advice. So this person called Metasius, he really gave some good advice, beginner advice, and he plugged in SEMrush and he plugged in GA. But if I was looking for a way to do this, I would immediately go and check out SEMrush as a tool for doing something like this. So again, great way to plug in your tool, great way to answer questions, and great way to show yourself or your brand as an authority. Now, you've done the research, you've created the content, but what happens after the customer, after they become a customer? You can use post-purchase content to take care of your customers, build brand loyalty, and upsell. And I think this is something we don't talk about enough. Finally, I want you to think beyond keywords because generative AI is here and it is not going anywhere. We need to turn our attention towards owned media and direct traffic. Google is only just going to keep becoming a monster with wanting to control what we see on SERP and stealing that experience, to be honest. I did a talk about this during my last brightness year about how Google is only looking out for number one, and we have to look out for our own number one too, which is us. And we can only do that by finding ways to get direct traffic that doesn't involve us going through SERPs. Now, I think that as more generative content goes out there, brand recognition power is about to become more potent. People are going to turn to the brands that they love to find answers because these are the people who have been there from day one and the brands that they trust. And the only way to become that authority is to create content that AI cannot replicate. And you can do this by using keywords that allow you to showcase your unique insights. Now, I made this post on LinkedIn and I think it's very relevant to what we're talking about here. Few examples: opinion pieces, research reports, customer stories, podcasts, thought leadership video interviews, roundups, and running communities like Top of the Funnel that Tyler is doing. Now, final part, using AI and human writers to scale content creation and build your topic clusters fast. I am quickly going to show you how I use ChatGPT because this is not about ChatGPT, but I'm just going to show you what I do with ChatGPT. 1 second. Let me pull up that. Yep. So this is ChatGPT. I have two plugins that I use. One is called Access Link. I use that to, Access Link to, in fact, this is the main plugin I use, to be honest. I use it to get ChatGPT to analyze links and Oh my god, I forgot the name of the person who shared this, but someone shared this during a presentation with the FCDC. I hope if there's someone from the FCDC here who attended that presentation, please put his name in the comment section. I feel so bad, but he's the one that taught me, that showed us this tool, and I just love it. So when I'm creating a brief with ChatGPT, first thing I always do is to tell it to ask me follow-up questions so that so that to make sure that it understands my requirements. And again, I've forgotten, but someone else on LinkedIn talked about this recently. But I was also doing this, but the person just gave me this very specific prompt. I'm really bad with names. Liam, yes, it was Liam. I think Liam Canahan. I think that's his name. Yes, Liam Canahan. So, all right, you tell ChatGPT to actually follow up questions if it doesn't understand, so that it doesn't just generate some rubbish response. It generates a response that is very specific. And then I say, assume you're a content marketer, you work for Zapier, you want to write an article on the keyword of marketing automation. What would you need to create a brief? And then it starts giving you all these questions, and you have to provide the answers so that it can create the brief for you. So I provide all those answers, and I don't stop here. I ask it to hold off. I'm going to feed it some links from the folks who are ranking for that keyword so that it can analyze those links. So I feed it links from HubSpot, and it just brings out this response. But that's not what I want. I want something very specific. So I asked it to regenerate, and I said, just tell me what they're doing well, what should be incorporated, where they fall short, what we should cover more in depth, and where the gaps are to exploit. So when it's analyzing each of these links, it's just going to give me all of these answers. So it analyzes all 6 links, and after that, I yeah, yes, I said so. Now, based on the links it analyzed plus the answers I already provided, give me a content brief, and then it provides this content brief. Now, I like to give ChatGPT my prompts in like one by one so that I'm not overwhelming it and it's not just giving me some rubbish answer, like I said. So, once it has given me that brief, I ask it for semantic entities. So, it goes back, runs those links again, and gives me some entities by one more. And I said, just give me the entities. I don't want any explanation. So it gives me a longer list of entities that I can use when I'm writing this piece of content. So I also asked it if any of the sites have linked to statistics or linked to any authoritative sources. So that I'm like, okay, if they've linked to those sources, maybe I have to link to them too, or maybe I could also reference those stats. And all of this, the first 4 websites, nope. But Digital Marketing Institute sounds interesting. So if I wanted to really understand what they are doing, I would like go back there and read this article because it's saying that it includes real world examples from companies like Airbnb, BuzzFeed, Netflix. So I want to see how it's using those examples so that I can do something better when I'm creating my content. All right, give me 1 second to switch back to um the presentation. Yeah, so that is it on using ChatGPT. It doesn't really take a lot of time. You just have to be patient and keep giving you specific prompts until you get what you're looking for. But honestly, the briefs I've been creating with ChatGPT have been fire because I combine it with the information I'm getting from content brief tools like Neuratext, and it's just chef kiss. So we're using ChatGPT to write. I know that there is a lot of divided opinion on this, but I always say write first, then use ChatGPT to make the first draft of your work better. That's always my tip for using ChatGPT. Not using ChatGPT to write, but you write first and then you use ChatGPT to make it better to fit like the kind of tone you're going for. And that is it. I can't believe I did this in such record time. If you want to work with me, you can scan this QR code or you can just go to my website, zenithcopy.com.
Chima, that was amazing. I'll give you a moment to catch your breath. I have to say, I did not expect such a deep dive here on so many different facets. I mean, you really went above and beyond into
Oh yeah,
so many specifics on different content formats and how to use ChatGPT and all this stuff. So thank you so much for sharing such
of
amazing
course, of
knowledge.
course, of course.
Yeah, cool. Well, we you have some questions. We've got just a quick time check here. We've got about 10 minutes left, so we'll
Yeah.
swing into some questions here. So first of all, folks hanging out with us on the live stream, to answer the number one question that has been asked, yes, there will be a recording of this. It is on YouTube on our channel here. So once again, first of all, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay up to date. But you can also just visit this exact same URL that you're visiting on YouTube. That will take you to the recording once the live stream is complete. So that's the number one question. Second of all, if you have additional questions for Chima on topic clusters or ChatGPT or content formats, all the amazing details that she provided, pop those in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. So I think you kind of answered this question from Navin. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but how can topic clusters and the multi-channel approach be used together? So you sort of touched on this, but maybe do you want to kind of reiterate some of the main points there?
Yeah, I said basically creating content for all these different channels where people hang out. So, for example, if you create an infographic, where would be the best place to share an infographic? Maybe Instagram, maybe LinkedIn. You could even make a Twitter thread out of it. You could even reference it in a TikTok video. So it's just making sure that you're not just creating blog posts. That is the lazy, outdated approach. It's making sure that you are factoring in all the different platforms where people go to receive information and you are present there with parts of your cluster.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I took away from that was, topic clusters aren't just an SEO strategy. It's sort of the
Yes.
foundation of your whole content strategy, right? So you're
Yes.
creating a content strategy around these themes, and then it sort of takes on all these different forms and all these different
Yes.
channels.
It's omni-channel authority. So it's not just SEO, it's omni-channel. It's building that authority everywhere where people hang out.
Yeah, love that. I love that. Cool. Let's jump to the next question. So instead of creating separate pages for each subtopic, can we just create a long form content that answers all the questions around that pillar topic, like backlinko?
No, you're not backlinker. That's simple. You know how many articles Brandon writes? I think people need to go and find out how many articles Brandon writes. I think he has said something like that. He writes a shit ton of content. So just because you're seeing him cover one pillar page, there's definitely more than that pillar page on Brandon's website. And you don't have the authority of Brandon. That's the truth. You don't have the reach of Brandon. Do you think that if you do what Brandon is doing, it's going to work for you? No. So you definitely need to create separate pages for each of those subtopics and then just harness everything into that pillar page. So the pillar page is more like that hub, and then people can just keep using those links that you use in the pillar page to branch out to the subtopics.
And I think it's maybe important there, if I can just add a point, because I think you articulated this in the session, but there is a distinction between a topic and a keyword. Right.
Yes.
So I think we think about keywords. In many cases, you can rank for lots of keywords with one topic, but that doesn't mean you can rank for lots of topics with one page.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Great. Yeah. Let us know, Ahmad, if you have any other questions on that or want us to go deeper on that. But I think, yeah, the takeaway, as Chima articulated, is, we're not Brian Dean, so your chances of ranking for, sort of owning everything. And plus, if you dig deeper into that strategy, you'll probably uncover that it's not quite as simple as just having one monster page. So this, I think, is a pretty simple one. Is social, basically the question is, like, is using social media or community research, are those sort of the same concept?
I don't know. Is Reddit a social media platform? I don't think so. Reddit is not a social media platform. Quora is not social media. When I hear social media, I'm thinking TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That is social media. Then I'm thinking communities, I'm thinking Stack Exchange, Quora, Reddit. So they're not the same thing.
Yep. That's a good distinction. Cool. Idris asked, how will a platform that writes news content go about clustering, considering the nature of news? So, basically, how does this strategy apply? Is there anything that you would do differently if we're talking about sort of a news?
I think with news, people tend to focus on building pages around, I don't want to say celebrities, but around important figures. So that all the news related to that person kind of like goes somewhere goes back to that person. So for example, someone like let me say Barack Obama now, there would be like maybe a hub page for him on the news website, maybe something about him, and then every time they talk about him, they're linking back to that page, or they're linking back to other pages that they've mentioned about Barack. But yeah, the cluster process doesn't work in that traditional format with news, because news is constantly changing and it's on what is hot right now, what is happening right now. And something that might be happening to one person, that person has probably never had the experience with being in the news before, and probably they'll never be in the news again. It's like a one-time experience with them. So it doesn't
Mm,
it doesn't make sense. But using tag pages, yes, I think that would work. I think that would
hmm.
work. So that when someone clicks on that tag, then they see maybe like something around crime, or maybe like something around someone who has gone missing. They can see all those other related stories to that. So yeah, tags could work.
Yeah, that's a great sort of thought experiment. 'Cause I think, yeah, I think you nailed it, that you want to have sort of that hub page, or like that pillar page still around people or topics, or
Yeah.
some kind of structure to it.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
tags can kind of work that way. I think most people neglect, or sort of ignore their tag pages. So gives you an opportunity to kind of dig in there.
Yeah. Especially if you put the tags on the right side of the page, so that it's easy for people to like click on all these different tags, or like you put
Mm,
the most important tag at the end when they finish reading, and then they can just click that to go and read more articles around that thing they've just read.
uh-huh. Yeah. This is actually a related question. I'm going to jump to this question from Israel. He's asking, so he's basically asking, can you just use like sort of tags and tagging, in WordPress or with your CMS, as sort of
Yes.
the way that you build clusters without any additional
Yes.
work?
Yes. That's a very good way to actually like show relationship between the topics in the cluster to search engines and even to the reader. It's a very good
Mm-hmm.
way. So, for example, if I'm building a topic cluster on topic clusters, I'm doing one actually. Every piece of content is going to have the tag of topic clusters.
Mm,
So that would mean that if someone clicked that tag, they would just immediately see maybe five, six content pieces that I've written, and they can just start reading from the top and then just flow down like that. It's just a very, very effective way to pull out all the content pieces that you've created around that topic and show it to the user at once, and then also show it to search engines too. So yes,
mm.
effective tabbing does help with creating clusters.
For sure, for sure. And I guess just to clarify, would you suggest, that is sort of the main mechanism of linking between
No,
these, or
no, no, no. Links. I would rather
yeah?
suggest text links when you are writing the content as a
Mm-hmm.
better way. I like the way HubSpot does it. HubSpot has the pillar page, and then they have like, will I say like small images showing all the different
Mm,
contents in the cluster, and then you can just click this one or click this one or click this one. Then at the end of every page you're reading, it takes you to the next one or to the previous one. So you're kind of
mm.
like just like moving chronologically across all the content pieces. It's a very nice way to like have that experience. But also they have in-text links, which is what most people rely on to
Yeah.
understand that semantic relationship.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the other nice thing too is that you get to control the anchor text, which helps from like an SEO
Yeah.
perspective. You can kind of sort of shape the profile there, which is helpful. And so this is another sort of related question from Kelvin. So how are we linking to everything? And he asked sort of one of the eternal debates in SEO, which is, do you have a silo structure, or do you link to the most relevant content regardless of
What
silo?
does they mean by silo structure?
So basically, this refers to, okay, say you have a marketing automation cluster and a
Mm-hmm.
content marketing cluster. Do you
Mm-hmm.
cross link between those two clusters,
Oh,
or
okay,
do you
cross linking.
only?
See, okay, that's a very good question, because just yesterday, literally yesterday, we brought in Joshua George to the FCDC, and he talked about this. Now, it's a split thing, because some people will link cross linking, some people will only link within the cluster. I think it's a matter of preference. Joshua says linking only within the cluster has worked for him. But I
Mm,
have done a ton of content clusters, and I always do what I call deep linking. And with deep linking, I am cross linking outside the cluster. But you have to be very strategic. When I'm cross linking, I'm linking to specific words. Let's say I'm writing about marketing automation and there's like a text there, and that text has its own article on the website. There's no way I'm not going to link to that article on the website, especially if it's relevant to what I am writing about. I think
mm-hmm,
relevance is the most important thing. If it is relevant to that subheading, then link to it. But just be careful they're not just linking arbitrarily. There has to be relevance. Google bots are smart enough to understand that relationship, to understand that relevance. And I just think it doesn't make any sense not to put deep links in there. That's what I like to call them. I call them deep links because then it's like passing link juice to articles that are like old on your website, so that they just keep getting that freshness with people who are still reading them. So for me personally, I cross link, but I cross link when the content is relevant to the subheading.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's generally sort of the accepted practice at this point. I think
Yeah,
the idea of doing silos, sort of strict silos, is a little outdated in my opinion or in my experience. And I think that has worked in the past, but I think most people sort of say if it's relevant, link to it, whether it's
yeah,
in that same topic cluster or in another
yeah,
one, and you can only benefit from it basically. So awesome. Well, we are just about at time here, so I want to wrap things up. But first of all, Chima, I just want to say thank you so much again for sharing such amazing content, such great insights. A bunch of people are asking about how to get a hold of the slides or learn more of that kind of thing.
yeah.
So
Number one, I never ever share my slides because my slides are like my babies because I keep using them. I'm a very big fan of repurposing. So if I do this presentation now, I'm going to take something from it and do another presentation somewhere else. So I don't share my slides. Not when I speak in public, not when I speak anywhere. You need to watch the video. Basically, you need to watch this video again if you want to get that detail.
yeah. And I'll mention that again. This video, this live workshop is going to be available on our YouTube page. So again, just subscribe to our YouTube, come back to the same
Yes.
URL that you're at right now. You can rewatch it at any point you would like. Also, quick shout out to Chima on Twitter. You can follow her here at Chima Mmeje,
Yes.
and find her there. Her website is zenithcopy.com.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
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 Cool, awesome. And one final note I'll just mention, which is that if you enjoyed this session, once again, join us inside Top of the Funnel. We have all kinds of awesome content coming up. Maybe not quite as awesome as Chima's session, but they're all great. They're all great. Cool. Well, thank you again so much for taking the time to join us today, Chima. Thanks
Thank
to
you
everyone
so
who
much
joined
for
us
having me.
live.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really
Uh,
good.
awesome. Well, thank you all again, and hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And talk to y'all soon. Cheers.